morning, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, January 15th, 2020, officially halfway through the first month of 2020. I ain't sure if January running fast or slow yet. I'm still deciding. Good morning to everybody joining us this morning. Those of you on GBN Television, channels 7, 11, and 20. Hi, Miss D. Those of you joining us on the GBN YouTube channel or the Grenada Broadcaster Network YouTube channel. Those of you, the loyal listeners of Classic 105.5, so happy to have you as usual in and keeping you company as you start your day. I want to say good morning to those folks across the region that are joining us. Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Antigua, Anguilla, Jamaica, Dominica, Barbados, Puerto Rico, Guyana, wherever you're from in the region, good morning to you. Those of you internationally, US, Canada, Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, Australia, Spain, London, Brazil, good morning to each and every one of you. Like I said, it's the 15th. It's going to be a good Wednesday. Like I said, and I continue to say, it's a good day to have a good day. All right, let's start with the word of the day as usual. And this morning's word of the day is a noun, and it's artifice. Artifice, A-R-T-I-F-I-C-E, artifice. It's a noun, as I said, which means a clever or artful skill, an ingenious device, an artful trick, false or insincere behavior. Artifice. Do great actors display artifice or art? Sometimes a bit of both. It stresses creative skill or intelligence, but it also implies a sense of falseness and trickery. Art generally rises above such falseness, suggesting instead of unanalyzable creative force. Actors may rely on some of each, but the persona they display in their roles are usually artificial creations. This morning's word of the day, artifice. An example of the use of the word: a generation that's grown up with Snapchat filtered selfies and pop feminism seems to have an innate understanding that artifice doesn't negate authenticity. The word of the day, artifice, A-R-T-I-F-I-C-E, a noun which means a clever or artful skill, an ingenious device, an artful trick, or false or insincere behavior. Artifice. Okay, I'll try to use that in a sentence today. That's always my aim, to use a word of the day in a sentence. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so good, but at least I try. And the thought for today: we forget that waking up each day is the first thing we should be grateful for. We forget that waking up each day is the first thing we should be grateful for. Facts. Not everybody is blessed to see this morning. Not everybody is blessed to wake up when they close their eyes and lay down to sleep at night. Not everybody is blessed enough to enjoy the sunrise and the sunsets of each day. That is our first blessing of each day, waking up. God blessed us with the ability to wake up. He gave us the gift of life, remain in the land of the living, and we should always thank Him and be grateful for it. Never forget that your very first blessing of each day that you are in the land of the living is your ability to wake up, the ability to open your eyes, the ability to stretch, not stretch. The word of the day the other day, rax, R-A-X, see? Using the word of the day in a sentence, your ability to rax, aka stretch in the morning time. You should be grateful for it. Not everybody was blessed enough. Not everybody could, even if they wake up, not everybody is actually able to get out of bed. Not everybody is able to see the sunrise. Not everybody is able to feel how cold or how hot outside is. There are things we should be grateful for that we take for granted. But waking up every morning is definitely a blessing we should thank God for. No matter the circumstances, be grateful. So as you go about today and as you get up today, if you didn't pray this morning and tell God thank you, now's the time to do so. The thought for today: we forget that waking up each day is the first thing we should be grateful for. Remember that as you go about your Wednesday. Let's see what's celebrated today, the 15th of January. All right, today is what would have been the 81st birthday of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King. He was born January 15th, 1960-something. 1920, let's see, 81, so that's 29. 1929, today would have been his 81st birthday. Today it is Today it is National Bagel Day, National Hat Day. Yes, hat as in what you put on your head. And today is National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. Each year, National Strawberry Ice Cream Day on January 15th celebrates one of the choicest flavors of ice cream. All flavors of ice cream, however, are recognized on July 1st, but today is special as it pays homage to strawberry flavored ice cream. All right, y'all know I'll be celebrating. I didn't even have to tell Ollie. I'll be celebrating National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. Most deaf. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know from which producer, but your bottom dollar, Blossom would recognize National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. All right, let's see what else is taking place. I saw a story on social media yesterday from Antigua that the government is making efforts to clean up derelict and abandoned vehicles from the sides of the road effective February 2020. And it spurred a thought, or it continued a thought in my mind that this is an effort that we should continue. I know we started, there were talks of doing it. Notices were distributed, maybe if not last year before, but it seems like the mission has stopped. We should restart it. Too many abandoned vehicles about the place, collecting water and other rodents and insects, breeding grounds for mosquitoes, and they're just on the side of the road chilling. There are abandoned and derelict boats as well, especially along Lagoon Road. Clean up all man jack. The mission started let's say 2 years ago. Could be longer. It has since stopped. Let's restart it. So let's join Antigua in their cleanup and do the same thing. If you are the owner of a derelict vehicle, get rid of it at the soonest. You're contributing to the littering and unsightliness of the island, unfortunately for you. You should be feeling bad about that, let's be real. So let's continue the effort to clean up the derelict vehicles around the island. Yep. And the boats as well, especially along Lagoon Road and along the coastline, go up the east. I know there are some on the west. Let's clean it up. Today there's cricket. The first T20 of Ireland's Tour of the Caribbean takes place at the National Cricket Stadium this afternoon from 1 p.m. And in that light, government has allowed time off for public officers to attend the match. A lot of our public offices will be closed at noon today. So if you need to get services at any of our public offices today, I suggest you do so. Not I suggest. You should do so before noon today if it's necessary for today. So when you go there at 12:15 and the office is closed, do not be surprised. Don't say Blossom didn't tell you. It closes at noon to allow public officers the opportunity to attend the T20 match between West Indies and Ireland at this National Stadium from 1 p.m. today. And those of you taking the time off, make sure you go to the cricket now. They're giving you the time off not to go home and sleep, but to ensure that there are numbers at the stadium. There were people in the stadium on Sunday, but not a lot, or not as much as they would like. So to boost the numbers, they're giving you the opportunity to attend the match today. The T20 starts at 1, West Indies versus Ireland. Dwayne Bravo is returning to the West Indies cricket team. He's one of my favorite, don't tell my husband, he's one of my cricket crushes. Good thing he should be still sleeping. He's one of my favorite cricketers, and he would be in the stadium in all his glory this afternoon. So if you see Blossom, don't be surprised. And a reminder that the Acting Commissioner of Police is holding a meeting this evening at 6 p.m. to discuss the issues related to the traffic diversions through Montmoritz following the closure of the Molineux Main Road. The meeting takes place 6 p.m. at the Montmoritz Community Centre. I know earlier this week the bus drivers on the western side of the island held a news conference to share their thoughts and their concerns. Hopefully they would also attend the meeting this evening and hash it out with the commissioner, the acting commissioner, and we can, see how best we can give everybody a little relief maybe, or a little comfort during this time as we deal with the issues. So remember that, 6 p.m. Montmoritz Community Centre. On that note, it's time for this morning's break. Those of you on radio, we bring you the morning edition of news. Those of you on television and the YouTube channel, we bring you the highlights of last evening's newscast. This is Classic 105 and GBN. This is Good Morning Grenada. Keep it locked right here.
Good evening from the Grenada Broadcasting Network. I'm Kenroy Batiste. Residents and vendors in Subi's St. Andrew are being affected by the high tides reaching as far as the main road, causing severe flooding and loss of goods. Some residents are of the view that although there are periods when the tides are high, the removal process of the unsightly and pungent sargassum seaweed has triggered severe erosion, causing the sea to come in further. Akeisha Felix visited the area today.
Residents on the eastern side of the island, especially in Subi's, an area known for the massive accumulation of the sargassum seaweed, are now faced with severe erosion. Vendors in the area are now fearful for their businesses, although all the dwelling houses were removed and families were relocated to the Grenada, China, low-income houses in the same vicinity. Nestor Courtney, a vendor and resident of Subi St. Andrew for over a decade, said the recent happenings are affecting her day-to-day operations and believes something needs to be done sooner rather than later.
Couple days I've been looking at the sea and the water is very, very rough. And then you're rough until when it splashes, comes up, you end up all on the bank, and it's affecting a lot of people around here because concerning with business, when we do take stuff, we have to remove the stuff from where we are and go to another location to sell. It's real rough, and then you're rough outside. It was so white that the water, when it splashed, you see all the whiteness in the sky. It's terrible. Well, from since this thing happened with the water and the stuff, well, I didn't see no minister come around and ask or do any work at all.
Gabriel Daniel, one of the families relocated to the Chinese low-income houses, is of the view that due to the removal of the unsightly and pungent sargassum seaweed, other materials to help prevent erosion were also removed in the process. Daniel is calling on the relevant authorities to have this issue addressed.
Why they take now the seaweed now? They move out some of the missile and things where I place on the ground here. Because when quite in after Tivoli, the Pointsfield River, and bring missile and put on the ground here, right? And then the seaweed, when the excavator come, they take in the sand and the seaweed together with the missile, and then right now you bring a kind of erosion for us on the ground, and the water just come in as how you want on us inside. I don't know really who to really call them, but who is suitable enough to assist us are willing for them to come forward.
Meanwhile, due to the high tides being experienced, officials from the Met Office said a marine advisory remains in effect. Akeisha Felix for GBN News.
Other news, officials of the Citizenship by Investment Program cleared the air this morning on the vetting process of investors applying to gain citizenship through the program. The issue was raised during government's weekly post-cabinet briefing at the ministerial complex. We hear more in this Rena Pear report.
CEO of the Citizen by Investment Program, Percival Clouden, and his newly appointed chairman, Senator Christopher Diali, says the vetting process used by the CBI program is a rigorous one. According to Diali, the laborious process is built to ensure those applying for citizenship are not involved in illegal activities anywhere in the world.
Because of how the program is set up, when a potential applicant makes an application, there are a number of checks. So you have the international marketing agent that have to do some vetting and checking. You have the local agent, that's another layer that has to do a number of checking. When monies are received through the banks and through the banking system, the source of the funding have to be checked again to make sure it's coming from a requisite source. So we have this multi-layered level of checking and security screening to ensure that we reduce the risk to almost zero and to ensure that the applicants that come are bona fide people.
Diali explains that all investors must declare the sources of their funding.
First of all, the most important, one of the most critical checks is the money. Follow the money. If you follow the money, you tend to get an understanding of where or how the monies came about. Most of this will come from bona fide businesses that they invest in and so on. So we will follow that, and of course we will follow the other things that comes with the application, your education level and so on, your citizenships and so on, so that we get a profile of the person.
The chairman says that anyone can introduce investors to the program, but no one has any special privilege, as everyone within CBI must follow the rules.
Anybody could bring an investor to the country. The idea is if you want to do your investment under the CBI umbrella, then you have to follow the dictates of the law that allows you the privileges to be part of the CBI program. But investors don't have to come under CBI, and anybody could introduce an investor. I could introduce an investor to the government in a particular area where they may think that there is need for development and so on. So it doesn't restrict in that sense. But once you want to come under CBI, then you have to follow the rules and the law as the CBI will have for that.
The CBI program was introduced in 2013. It currently has 46 international and 22 local marketing personnel. For GBN News, I am Rina Pierre reporting.
Well, officials of the CBI program this morning also outlined some of the benefits to Grenadians and the economy.
According to Senator Christopher Diali, chairman of the Citizen by Investment Program, one of the main reasons the program was implemented was to attract investors to the country who will contribute to the development of the economy. The chairman says 40% of the money invested is deposited in a National Transformation Fund.
I want to spend a little time on the NTF, the National Transformation Fund, and to say that in the NTF, when we set up the NTF is set up in such a way that the monies that come into the NTF can assist the government in various programs that the government have identified. As Minister said, it's a National Transformation Fund, so government will indicate which projects they want to take money from the fund to invest in. These could be social programs, these could be programs that augment various sectors like IT in the country.
He explains this contingency fund is used for emergency responses.
If the country was to have a hurricane, we can have emergency access to the Transformation Fund to help in recovery. So we have set up the Transformation Fund, and recently we passed in Parliament a contingency fund out of the National Transformation Fund that must be set up so that it could deal with these emergency issues as they come up if and when. So we're trying to make ourselves independent as it relates to how we deal with our own ability to meet our own funding needs under crisis issues or other issues.
The newly appointed chairman also explains how the investment under the program will directly benefit the ordinary man on the street.
Of course, when the project is completed, we have the advantages of Grenadians getting employment through the project, and when it starts operational, locals will be employed in various fields. Farmers will be affected positively in the sense that there will be linkage to the farming community and the many other aspects of it, taxation issues for us and transportation issues for the bus drivers and the taxi men.
In 2019, 679 people were awarded citizenship under the CBI program. $30 million was generated with a 10% contribution to the country's GDP. For GBN News, I am Rina Pierre reporting.
Now, the Technical and Allied Workers Union, TAU, today swept the ballot in a Ministry of Labour conducted poll to become the sole bargaining agent for the FC6 and FC7 categories of workers at CIBC First Caribbean International Bank. This is what we know. The employees who cast their ballots voted in favor of the union. The employees of CIBC First Caribbean International Bank, FC6 and FC7, now have trade union representation for the first time. Representing the Ministry of Labour was Cyrus Griffith. Representing CIBC First Caribbean International Bank was Joanna Marishaw, while Godwin Thomas represented the union. We can tell you TAU said it will meet with the workers to have discussions on the way forward. The merging of small commercial banks will be a challenge. The view of a former banker as he cites major adjustment if this is to happen. We get more in this report.
With the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank considering the merging of small banks in the region, a former managing director of Republic Bank Holdings, Ronald Harford, foresees this a challenge. He believes that as it now stands, the future of banking lies with the bigger banks. However, for a merger to be effected, Harford says a number of adjustments have to be made. Talents and resources are paramount, he added, in handling a much bigger operation.
Well, there are two things going on there. The ECCB wants to merge the small banks together, but it means a relinquishing of power of each of the small banks, right? They have chairmen, they have CEOs, right? And a lot of the trappings of head offices will have to go. So it is going to be quite a challenge to get people to accede to that movement. And I think it has been the biggest key back for it going forward, as it must. Because
the retired general manager spoke to another development in the banking sector. Millions of dollars, he says, are spent on system maintenance annually, which the smaller banks cannot afford.
They're asking some of the indigenous banks to take over the business of the Royal Bank of Canada, which is another aspect that's going on. So that's a negotiation that's going on as well, right? Now, that's a challenge not to be taken lightly, because you need significant capital to support the additional assets that you're taking. And the problem with the small indigenous banks is that they are very thinly capitalized, right? So they have to find large sums of money to be able to take on the assets going forward, right? So
when asked his thoughts on the status of Grenada's economy, that was his take.
Grenada's economy is very strong and, more important, sustainable. See a couple of new hotels being developed. That's very helpful. But most of all, the great strength of Grenada is control over crime. The people of Grenada can be comforted and secure that whatever is happening here is sustainable.
Christelina John, GBN News.
The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, ECSC, made history on Monday by commencing the ceremonial opening of the new law year 2020 in January instead of September. Cherry and Blackman Stephen tells us the reason for the change.
Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court Chief Justice Dame Janice M. Pereira says increasing challenges of a changing climate has caused the court to change the date for the opening of the new law year. Traditionally, the new law year opens in September each year, with special sittings in the 9 member states and territories of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, or the OECS. The court year previously ran from September to July.
Time that I would have addressed you was in September 2018 from the Twin Islands state of St. Kitts and Nevis. The court has broken with tradition out of practicality. As you know from experience, the month of September happens to be the peak of the hurricane season, and the increasing frequency and intensity of hurricanes and other adverse weather systems affecting our region cannot be denied.
The Chief Justice reflected on weather-related challenges faced over the past 3 years.
We certainly cannot prevent hurricanes. They are very much a part of our lives in this region. However, we can adjust to lessen their impact. The court, therefore, made the decision to have the law year follow the calendar year and mark the official opening in January. The court's vacation periods remain unchanged, and effectively, the only noticeable impact of the change in the law year is the new date of the ceremonial opening of the court.
The theme for the opening of the 2020 law year is A New Era for the ECSE, the road to achieving court excellence. Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News.
Meanwhile, the Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, Dame Janice M. Pereira, renewed calls for the regional governments, the governments of the sub-region, to meet their financial contributions to the court, which serves as a superior court of record for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. Cherry and Blackman-Stephen has another report.
In her address to the special sitting marking the ceremonial opening of the new law term, Justice Pereira called on regional governments to meet their financial responsibilities to the court.
I once more call on the executives of our governments across the region to do more than provide lip service support to the courts. The courts have been made to operate for several months now without an approved budget and with promises not kept. The fact that a little time, just once in the space of a year, to address funding for the court seems elusive, and it speaks volumes about where the judiciary is pegged, somewhere on the bottom rung of the ladder.
Chief Justice Pereira said that without the funds from government, it limits the court's ability to undertake plans and programs.
The continued chronic failure to adequately fund the court prevents the court from putting strategic plans into action. The reforms and enhancements to current court processes and procedures and the addition of new ones coupled with capacity building amongst our judicial officers and court staff can only go so far. If we fail to appreciate our human resources, and if the doors of our courts are closed, or if physical court facilities cannot support an optimized scheduling of matters, or where basic facilities fail to be provided at all, then all the reforms, no matter how well intended, come to naught.
The ECSC serves the islands of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as the 3 British overseas territories of Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, and Montserrat. It has unlimited jurisdiction in each member state. Cherry and Blackman-Stephen, GBN News.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 7. This story to report. Rudolph Williams, a bus driver plying the St. Mark route, says some of the situations faced in the bus terminus not only affect the health of bus drivers, but also that of passengers. The bus driver, who was speaking at a press conference yesterday, said that the level of carbon monoxide generated in the bus terminus during the day is toxic.
If you on the inside of the terminal where you're loading passengers, the amount of carbon monoxide that is inside of there, I asked some time back, I asked them to measure. They must come and measure between the hours of 8 and let's say 8 to 9 as the busy time, and see what carbon monoxide is build up inside there. If you're on the outside where Grenada operate, you may not have that amount of discomfort. Right? So we put on the AC. Some people don't like AC. Some may be okay with it.
Williams, a member of the Western Bus Association, also stated that the heat generated in the area causes discomfort for the busmen and something needs to be done.
It is a car park. They turn it into a terminal. All you want to do is to make some money off a busman, because we are uncomfortable. The amount of heat you're getting from inside of that building. Yeah, so and that whole inside of the terminal to the back where we just park the buses and them, it shows that there's a lot of discomfort. I am suggesting that when I look around and I test inside of there, I get to realize the top of the car park is much better to use than the bottom.
All right, so the bus driver is calling on the relevant authorities to meet with the various bus associations to address this and other issues. In a matter of weeks, locals and tourists will be able to visit the newly constructed tourist site at the Old Pearls Airport in St. Andrew. Akeisha Felix tells us more.
Talks of transforming a section of the Pearls Airport into an upgraded tourist attraction is finally becoming a reality. Work is ongoing as the Pearls Airport is being retrofitted to become one of the most frequently visited tourist sites on island. Some residents in the area are pleased with the development and believe it adds value to the entire community. Verrill Bristol, a resident for over 40 years, says he welcomes the move as it preserves the history of Grenada's first airport and gives the community a facelift.
First of all, for the longest while I've been talking about this, and now I've seen it happen, and I really appreciate it. And I'd like to big up Skeeter Lewis and also Teach Michelle for making this happen for the people in the community, and everybody around here, we're proud of it.
While an estimated date was not given for the completion of the project, Bristol had a few suggestions to help increase the number of visitors to the site.
Boutiques for the tourists when they come to get some, see the artifacts that we have, to get some fresh water to drink, even watermelon, because all around here full of farmers. And that's what we did with around here.
The Pearls Airport was opened in 1943 and was under the management of the Grenada Airports Authority. In 1984, the airport was replaced as Grenada's main airport by the Point Saline International Airport, now called the Morris Bishop International Airport. Akeisha Felix for GBN News.
Accidents were avoided today thanks to the quick response of a truck driver whose load of gravel spilled from his vehicle onto the road. Motorists are often forced to drive through or swerve away from debris left on the road for hours by truck operators. GBN visited the scene today after passers-by expressed concern that gravel on the busy Richmond Hill Road could result in major accidents there.
Officers of the traffic department responded to a call of a gravel spill en route to Richmond Hill, St. George's. This caused some inconvenience to motorists plying the route. However, the driver of the truck responsible immediately took the initiative to have the road cleared. He explained to our news team what most likely happened. He took the opportunity to also advise other truckmen like him.
We came from Mount Rush, but as you see the spilling in the road, we had the back of the truck that opened. It accidentally opened. And I think because of some of the pressure that was on it, or maybe it didn't close properly. But that's what caused the spilling. So as soon as we notice it, we just offload what we have. And we're right here right now just to take care of it and get rid of the spillage in the road. Always double check and make sure that this thing is closed properly before you move off. Yeah.
The Road Traffic Act of 1993, Section 57(1), speaks to driving without reasonable consideration for other road users. In the case of any spillage, this poses a danger for other road users, especially motorcyclists. According to Sergeant Ryan Smith, attached to the traffic department, the law was amended in 1999 with some insertions.
And that insertion states that 20A Regulation 2620 says that, and I quote, he shall not transport on his motor vehicle or trailer any garbage, sand, aggregate, mud, or other like material without a suitable cover, so as to prevent the spillage of same on the public road. Also, the truck back or the tray must be in a proper condition, that it doesn't have any holes or so on that it falls on the road. It has an option. They can charge you for driving without reasonable consideration for other road users, or for spilling mud or gravel on the road surface.
The officer declares that a number of people have been charged. Driving without reasonable consideration for other road users carries a fine of $1,000 or 6 months imprisonment. Failure to cover to avoid spillage carries a fine of $500. The traffic department is seeking the assistance of the general public in reporting culprits. Christelina John, GBN News.
And Valley Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of it, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Whenever we're faced with difficulties, we find comfort in those we know and trust. This is especially true when a loved one has died.
Welcome to Otway Bailey Funeral Home.
For over 100 years, Otway Bailey Funeral Home has helped families celebrate the lives of their loved ones with compassion and dignity. Our affordability, attention to detail, warm and caring staff has contributed us being the funeral home of choice for official and state funerals. We treat you as we would treat our own family. All of our services are designed to help you get through one of the most personal and challenging stages of life, whether it's planning a funeral, joining our burial society, or pre-arrangements. You can be assured of the Otway Bailey commitment to consistently provide the most caring and professional service possible with the best options and price. So call us 440-2558 or visit our website, otwaybaileyfuneralhome.org.
At Otway Bailey, we offer the perfect tribute any family can afford.
Carrie can't seem to catch a wink and is craving a catnap. Meanwhile, Mary marvels at the majesty of her Monday morning, masterfully making multiple meals for many miners, mindfully making the most of every moment, making ready to move mountains, and mustering the masses to march out the door on time. Concurrently, Carrie clumsily corrals the kids to carry on to class, as Mary muses on memories of purchasing her marvelous mattress. Your best day starts tonight with a Sleep On It mattress from Quartz.
It's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. The festive season is over, so let's start 2020 looking and feeling like a boss with our many body cleansing options. Purchase detox products as low as $50. Purchase detox combo packs as low as $100. Receive 10% off on all in-house colonic irrigation treatment. Take control of your health now. Don't delay. Call us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. We are located in Belmont, St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. These offers are valid from January to March or while stocks last. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. Detox your way to health.
I'm reaching my dreams with GOT. They're the ones for me. I'm reaching my dreams with GOT. They're the ones for me. Since 1983, they've been serving the country, and we like all their financing, giving the people what they want, what they need, what they love. Come and join the family that's here for you all the way, from birth to graduation, your first job to your home and your car through your golden years.
The GT Credit Union has been actively supporting nation building through its many sponsorships and programs including financial literacy quiz, Pass the Torch Calypso program, junior cooperatives in secondary schools, CPEA, and the TAMCC grants. The credit union has helped many people make their dreams come true. Let them help you with yours. You don't have to be a teacher to be a member. So what are you waiting for?
GUT Credit Union, it's where you belong.
Escomar Variety Chain. Come and shop, 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 shop. We got mats, rugs, curtains, appliances at all our stores. A wide range of products will meet your heart's desire. So come to Escomar, and remember, we are located at Melville Street, St. George's, opposite the bus terminal, Gore Street, St. George's, and at our newest location at the Lansapines Junction, Grandans. Our numbers are 232-7447, 232-4774, or 435-7447.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100-pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
Make no excuse. Claim those fitness goals with a little help from Quartz. Save big on home fitness equipment when you shop with up to 15% off. Plus, get a chance to win a free spin bike. Shop today and pay nothing until March with Quartz Ready Finance. Make no excuses. Shop and win. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Conditions apply.
It's detox time again at Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. The festive season is over, so let's start 2020 looking and feeling like a boss with our many body cleansing options. Purchase detox products as low as $50. Purchase detox combo packs as low as $100. Receive 10% off on all in-house colonic irrigation treatment. Take control of your health now. Don't delay. Call us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. We are located in Belmont, St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. These offers are valid from January to March or while stocks last. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic Detox Center. Detox your way to health.
You know, one day I woke up and, you know, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. You know, nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey.
This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
EC Polymer Notes, our new money.
Here's how you can detect genuine EC polymer notes. Feel. Polymer notes feel smoother than the material from which paper notes are made. Also, the front of each note has raised bumps at the top left-hand corner. These bumps form shapes that are familiar to you. Look for the clear window at the front and back of each note. This window allows you to see through the notes. If you hold the notes up to the light, you'll see the value of the note in an area of plain colored print. Tilt. A holographic form recoil is on the $100, $50, and $20. The images move and their colors change when you tilt the notes. Remember, detecting genuine EC polymer notes is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Feel, look, and tilt.
EC Polymer Notes. Cleaner, safer, stronger.
Breaking barriers. Going beyond the ordinary. Examining the stories beyond what meets the eyes. GBN gets to the meat of the matter. Join us on GBN Television, Classic Radio, gbn.gd, or on Facebook via your smartphones and other devices. We take you beyond the headlines every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. We are GBN, rated number 1.
Back inside Good Morning Grenada. It's 20 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Hope you're getting your shoes on your feet, getting ready to head out the door to get to school or work for 8 this morning. And I'll keep you company, those of you that are still home. This morning I have in studio with me the Women's Development Officer at the Grenada Football Association, Harry Volley, and to my immediate right, Ruth Lewis, one of the prolific football players out of J.W. Fletcher Catholic Memorial. Good morning, lady and gentlemen.
Morning, very happy to be here.
How are you both this morning?
Wonderful.
Good.
Nice to know. This morning we're talking women's football. Harry, I'll start with you. We have a number of things coming up in football in the near future between now and March. So tell us, what are those things that we're preparing for as it relates to women's football?
So in general, I'd like to say that this is going to be a very big year for women's football on Ireland, and in general globally there's a huge push for women's football, so we're happy to be on board with that and creating more and more opportunities for girls to participate and use football to do interesting things. So we have on the 25th of January a 5v5 Independence Day tournament that will be held at Queen's Park. We would like teams to arrive for 2 o'clock, so we're still accepting registrations. This will be the launch day for the league, so we will be running a full competition this year for the high school teams. We've gone for that format because we've seen the success of the Right Start Cup and the teams participating, so we're going to use that as a platform for a league format that will run from the start of February through to July. Any girls who are not in the school system are able to register with the GFA, and they will be put into a draft system, so they will be eligible to be selected. The deadline for that is today, so any girls who want to play in the league this year must send in their details to the GFA office today so that we can select next week, and we're ready to begin with that.
How can they send it? Email, drop it in, and what information should they put in?
So there's a registration form, so they can contact me. My number is 417-8787, or they can send an email to the General Secretary in the GFA office, or Bruce Swan, our competitions officer. Any of those avenues are the best way to do that. And like I said, we would like as many girls to participate as possible. We're very, very excited about the league this year. We think it's going to make a huge change to football in general, but also preparing the girls for national team competitions. And that's the last thing that we wanted to talk about today is we have Ruth and her group are going to Dominican Republic next month, or the very end of February, to compete in a U20 championships, the CONCACAF championships, and then we also have the U17s competing the following month in a destination still to be confirmed at the moment.
Okay. Well, Ruth, tell me about preparations for the U20.
Well, the preparation, we have a lot of training. We have been getting test matches for practice, and Coach Monroe is doing a very good job, so we working on a lot, and I just want to thank him for that. So the preparation is very good now.
Coming out of the Right Start tournament, I know you competed in that. How did that help your preparations and ensuring that your skills are to a standard that you can compete in the Dominican Republic in the U20?
Well, in the Right Start Cup, the challenges we faced was like girls was not determined, so I had us to do a lot of work. I was all over the field, had us to play all different positions, and that helped me build up my skills, because when you're playing all over, like, you have to look properly, you have to see where you're passing the ball and see what's going on around you, so it's a lot. So since after the tournament, like, I have been better and looking forward to do better in the U20.
Tell me about the team for the U20, how you girls have been able to mesh, because I know you're coming from different schools around the island. So how you think you've been able to come together for training, and how that would work, or teamwork would work for the tournament?
Okay, since the U17 and under 15 that we had last year and year before, we have created a bond. So like everybody agrees with each other, no disrespect, nothing. So the team have a really good bond, and like when it's training, they would leave from up in the country, because it have training up in the country, and they would come down. The training location is in Bouchejoux, Happy Hill, so the players from town just have to go up, and it does be on our Saturdays too. Sometimes on our Saturdays we get a test match, or we train in a stadium or Queen's Park, so it's depending on where the coaches and them puts training.
What do you think is the strongest part of the team?
I think the strongest part of the team is the attacking part of the team, like the wings, the forwards and the midfield. And the defense is strong too, so I guess the whole team's strong.
I like that part. Harry, from your point of view, what is your take on the squad of under-20s?
So we have a lot of talent. It's a very talented group, and I was here originally in 2016. I was working with a men's team at that time, but I had some interaction with the girls, and I was aware of the level of talent. Before I was here, I was working with the Cayman Islands national team, the women's national team, and so as I was kind of transferring across here, I knew that there was lots and lots of potential. I think the format that we're going into with the U20 competition, we will miss out on the group stage, and we will be entered immediately into the knockout phase, and the opponent that we'll have is the winner of Mexico's group. So the likelihood is that we will be playing Mexico, and that's going to be a huge challenge. They're one of the strongest teams in the region, but it also allows us to gauge really where the girls are at. And I think the biggest thing going forward, we want to use the national team as a platform for girls to get out into educational opportunities. And so by gauging ourselves against a team like Mexico, we can really see where the girls are at in regards to how ready they are for those opportunities.
You gave us a little insight into your background, but give us more into your background in sports, and specifically football, and your skill level as it relates to women's development.
So, I mean, I've been coaching for the last 15 years. I've coached all across the world, Mexico, New Zealand. I was in Africa before I was in the Cayman Islands. And I think for me to develop, I wanted to work in as many environments as possible. So I've really tried to challenge myself in that regard. I've started working with women's football probably for the last 7 years. And there are differences, but in the end, football is very much the same, and it comes down to how do you combine a group of players for a united vision. And I think that's the most important thing that we're trying to do now is breed a culture of responsibility, of integrity and excellence, so that girls really value the program and understand how important it and what an honor it is to play for their national team.
Being the Women's Development Officer attached to the GFA, what are your plans for developing women's football in Grenada?
So I think it comes from building a community, and obviously the national team is the end of the line, and that should be where you showcase all of the foundation that you've built. And I think in general there is not enough attention spent on the younger age groups. So a big part of what I'm doing is initiating grassroots programs in each of the parishes aimed at girls from 5 to 12, because if we start at that age, their level of development is going to allow them to take up the opportunities that we're also working on further down the line. And I think that's the most important thing for me. Obviously the leagues are very important, because we will also have a U14 league and a U11 league starting later in the year, and we have other programming that we are working on. But the most important thing for me is that we have girls getting out and playing every Saturday, and more than that if possible, so that by the time they play their first competition at U14 or U15, they've been playing for a long time, rather than us grabbing them 6 months before, 2 months before. It must change in that direction.
Unfortunately, women's football is not given as much recognition as the men. How do you think we can change that mindset, not just for members of the public, but potential players who may have the skill but figure, I ain't getting involved?
I think there's two answers to that, and the first one is there needs to be a genuine outcome to the program. There must be, if you start football at 5, 6 years old, it must be clear to you, to your family, to the community, where that's going to take you. And I think as the girls start to gain these academic scholarships in the US, then people will start to understand that it's not, I hear a lot here that football and education are two separate things, and I need to really change that mindset and get people to understand there are so many chances to get a world-class education if girls commit to training and to playing football, because that's a huge pathway that we can explore and we can make the most of. So that's the first one. The second one is a little bit more about storytelling, and I think we have girls like Ruth who are very capable of talking and expressing themselves, and we need to give them more of a platform to be able to explain why football has benefited them and why it's a great thing to be doing.
Let's take a quick break and come back inside. We're speaking with Ruth Lewis of the J.W. Fletcher Catholic. She's a member of the national team, as well as the Women's Development Office of the Grenada Football Association, Harry Volley. We're going to take a quick break and come back inside. This is Good Morning Grenada on Classic and the GBN.
See it first on GBN. All the stories, from politics to industrial unrest. Tourism. Light it up. Light it up.
Nation to Grenada.
Entertainment. Sports and culture.
Great shot there of Anderson Peters from Grenada, the Commonwealth Games bronze medalist.
See more on GBN, your most credible source for information. Nightly at 7.
it on the stage. You must wave, you must wave. Oh Lord, show me the light, ignite the flame. We must rain every day. Bring on the elements. I want to see bananas over so, bananas over so, bananas over so. Shake the barriers. I want to see powder over so. Draw the water. Drink down your liquor. Party forever. Link up the crew and then we pass on. Bacchanal party, bacchanal party, bacchanal party, bacchanal party. Just bring up a Jose. Enjoy we money. Anything you have in your hand. Join me, come on. We tell myself we too busy. We not competing this year. Competing this year. But when the fans them call and we have got nothing to fear. They want me back every year.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be sure the vehicle comes to a complete stop before crossing. These tips can save your life. These tips can make our roads safer for all users. Be safe, be seen, be smart. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. We're speaking women's football this morning. I have Women's Development Officer of the GFA, Harry Volley, as well as Ruth Lewis, a member of the national women's football team. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5 versus 5 tournament that takes place on the 25th. Give me some more information as to what will take place and why that format, why 5 versus 5?
So, I guess I'll start on that one. I think we had the competition in the same format last year. It was a huge success. So we think it's a great little launching point for the league. The league will be 11v11, but it's a nice get-together. It's a fun competition where there's lots of ball touches, lots of energy and goals scored. So we think it's a great way to celebrate Independence Day. Maybe Ruth can talk about her experience from last year.
Sure, go ahead.
So, my experience from last year, I played for Queen's Park, and it was very successful. The 5v5 helps you think. Is not always when you're playing with a whole 11, it will be the same. So when you're 5v5 is like a small goal.
Right.
So when you're playing small goal and thing, you get more opportunity to angle your body properly to receive the ball. You increase your level of playing, your skills and everything. So I find the 5v5 is okay.
Ruth, how did you get into football? We don't see many girls in football, but you seem to be all up in it. How did you get involved in football?
Well, since I was 10, I always liked football. I grew up in a village in a place called River Road.
Okay.
River Road. Well, you know
that kind
River
of
Road.
explains it.
You know River Road, full of ballers, just pure ballers. So I grew up around boys, and every time they will go and sweat in a park and thing, I will always go and always try to convince them to let me sweat with them too. And then from there, they start giving me opportunities to sweat with them, and then I developed my ability. And then Corey, well, I know Corey from Queen's Park, he helped me too. Sometimes he would say, hey, let's go and do some ball drills. Let's learn how to control the ball properly and stuff. And then from that, I just started loving the sport all the way. Football day. I could eat, sleep, football.
A week.
And in 2015, my first year playing for national, it was a wonderful experience. And as you go along playing football for Grenada, you learn how to respect other people. You learn a lot of respect, and you make a lot of friends in that area. And then since 2015, start playing 16, 17, 18, and up to this day. And for all this time playing, I have 7 international goals for Grenada.
Touch a light. Nice. So how can you encourage your peers, your female peers, to play football? I know you have a team at JW Fletcher, but how can you encourage more players?
Well, it have a lot of players in my school who I know that interested in the game, but they find like just because, hey, I can control a ball, I can pass a ball, I'm not going to try to do anything. But in football, once you have the willingness to learn, then you will be a good player one day. Then you'll start training, you'll start being motivative, and the people who you're training with, like especially GFA, they are very motivational. So that will help the younger girls into the game. And the game is all about respect. If you don't have respect for the game, then you can't play the game.
A lot of people have, especially when they play, they have hopes of making it to the national team. What are your hopes as it relates to football? What do you hope to reach in football?
Well, in football, I hope to get a scholarship. This is my last year in JW Fletcher, and I'm trying my utmost best and putting out everything that I have when it comes to CXC. A lot of studying, a lot of SVA is being done, so I'm trying to, because football and schoolwork, it must go hand in hand. You can't off-balance one, because it will affect you. So I'm just trying to keep up my football career like now and school, so maybe when after I finish school, I might be able to get a scholarship.
Any international institution or team that you are eyeing to get into or onto?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but you're scoping out everything and keeping your options open.
Okay.
Nice. Harry, the under-17 tournament in March, some details about that and getting the team together and preparations for that competition.
So I would say there's a big blend of the players who are going to participate in both competitions. Ruth is eligible for both groups, and that's a large percentage of the U20s team are also U17 players. So the 2 training camps are combined at the moment, and we also have a number of girls based in Canada and the States who will hopefully be able to participate with us. So we're still waiting on CONCACAF to confirm the venue, but we're very excited. We think that's an extremely talented group, and we have a more favourable format, so we're not going in and playing the big dogs straight away, so it'll give us a better chance to showcase how good the girls are and the work that we've been doing.
Right. Speaking of the work you've been doing, what has been the interesting / exciting part of seeing the girls play when it comes to seeing their skills, as well as what are the areas that the team needs to work on?
So I'd say it's the exciting thing for me is the level of raw talent. What the girls do is very instinctive. It's very there's a naturalness to it. What we're trying to do now, the challenge or the objective, is to harness that and make that a combined thing. So using what they have individually to make the team strong and understand. I think the biggest thing I would say is communication. On the field, there's still a fear for the girls to communicate, and I think that takes players from an amateur level to a professional level when they are able to play the game, but also have the authority and the confidence to be able to direct others and to communicate with each other, to accept criticism in aid of something bigger, in aid of being successful.
Ruth mentioned when she started training with the boys, and I've heard comments that to further develop women players, giving them a chance to play against male players can develop their skills further. Do you agree with that, and are there plans to put them head to head, maybe not in a professional setting, but maybe the practice matches, and so the girls versus the boys?
I would say historically that's the way that the better female players have developed, but I think that underlines just how underserved female football has been worldwide for such a long time. So I'd say there's still, up until the age of 13, 14, there's a real benefit for some of the girls who are physically ready to play in with boys, but they must also have their own environments to be able to develop and express. So I'd say it's a case-to-case basis, and it must be managed. I think a big barrier to entry is lots of parents are worried about injuries. So if we start throwing the girls in with the boys and they're getting injured all the time, then we're not going to get the development that we want. But definitely there is a benefit to it. It's a different style of football. It's a different level of intensity. So some of the girls definitely have the ability to play in it, and it's just about managing how they participate and what the benefit of that interaction is.
Speaking of the parents, how supportive have they been to the young ladies being a part of the national team and local tournaments as well?
Well, I'll let Ruth answer that because I'm a little bit new to the game, so maybe she's more informed than me on that one.
Sure.
All right. Well, the parents have been very supportive. Every time it have meeting and stuff, like they will come, they will always interact with the coaches and stuff, and it have a group chat. That involves all the parents, so they always know when it's training and the information and all sorts of things. So to me, the parents have been very, 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 very
Ruth, have you ever been discouraged from playing football? Maybe not by your parents, but by your friends, schoolmates, even playing games, supporters of other teams. Has there ever been discouragement?
Yes, a lot.
How do you overcome that?
Before, when I used to play the boys and stuff, the boys and them would tell you anything straight up. They used to be like, oh yes, small, you're not ready yet, and all sorts of stuff. And then I would not study them, but when I did for myself, I would start to cry and thing. Because I know deep down in me, I could, play up to their level and stuff. So from that, when I went away in 2015, that time, first time I played for under 15, that was in Orlando, Florida, and I got criticized by other teams there. Not all the teams, like around 2. I could say St. Lucia and I can't remember the next team, but they say, oh, watch out, that girl small, she foot go break and all sorts of all kind of stuff. But at that time I never really let they get to me, and then I just always build my confidence for myself. So, and now the boys who I play with now, I play as a man. So right now they can't say, well, root this, that, and root that, because we on the same page.
So that acted as your motivation?
Yes, that is my biggest motivation. I feel if I didn't started to play with the boys, I might not be so interested, because boys so interested in football when it comes to Champions League. They're always watching games, and football is just the #1 sport.
Right.
So yeah.
Do you have interest in any other sport?
Well, I was run, athletics, long distance, and I was play netball. I was play all kind of sports, but football
is your love. I was about to ask if you had to pick.
Yeah, football is my love.
So if it comes to a point where you can't play football again, what's your second favorite then?
I might not be playing no sport at all.
You're dedicated. You're very dedicated in the future to the sport. Harry, when it comes to discouragement of the other, not just in Grenada, but I know there are a lot of women who are discouraged from participating in sports. How do you encourage them to ignore what we call the haters and just do what you love?
Well, I think this is a general thing in society now, that haters talk more than anybody else. So we're trying to create environments where the girls get to play on their own. But it's also an element of kind of wanting to be successful and wanting to achieve something in life, is you have to learn to manage that. And I think the biggest thing that we want to do with the girls program as it develops is work on leadership skills, on life skills, and kind of give the girls who are participating the mental and psychological skills to be able to deal with that, because it will never go away. The reality is, in an ideal world, everyone would support you and give you the care and whatever that you need to go and achieve things, but it just doesn't work like that. So the answer for me is equipping the girls with the tools to be able to remain focused, to understand that it's their life, it's their dream, and it's not for anybody else to have an opinion on that. It's for them to focus and get what they want to done. Yeah.
And what are the other tournaments or events that the women's football has coming up for the rest of the year?
So we have the U15s will be in the States in August. We're trying to arrange a U13 beach football tournament for July. So that would be kind of inter-regional. That would be other teams from the Caribbean coming. And as I said, we also have the U14 league and the U11 league. So I'm very, very excited. There's going to be lots and lots of football for girls this year. There's no excuse for not participating now. We want to see as many out as possible, and we want more girls like Ruth who live and die for football like I do.
Right. And speaking of the regional, the U50s in August, it seems like we're having a lot of regional tournaments, not just for the men but for the young ladies as well. Does it speak well to how much our team has developed, or the international push to develop it?
I think it's both. I think you saw from the Women's World Cup last year that the game is changing massively, and the viewing figures and everything, and you see right now that the US team are saying, well, we're way more successful, we're way better than the men's team, why are we not getting a cut like we should? And I think there's conversations going around the world about how that level of equality needs to change, and that the girls' game needs to be supported. I also think the under-17s, for example, the girls are in that competition. They didn't have to qualify. It was based on previous success. So it is definitely a reflection of the great work that the girls have been doing over the past few years.
Right. And remind us of what we have coming up with the V versus V, 5 versus 5, and the under-20s and the under-17s.
So 25th of January is the 5v5 competition at Queen's Park. We're still looking for teams to register. So if you and a group of friends, it's a maximum of 8 players, a minimum of 5 players to compete. Get involved. It's going to be a really fun day. That is the launch day for the league. So the following week is when the Women's League will start in earnest. Then we also have the girls going off to Barbados. They'll have a friendly game in Barbados at the end of this month. So that will be the U20s in preparation for their game, more than likely against Mexico at the end of February. And then the following month will be their games for the under-17 in their championship.
And the 5v5 is for all age groups?
Yeah, anyone can.
What's the minimum?
So I'd say, I mean, because it's going to be older girls playing, I would say kind of 12 or 13 is the lower end of the limit. But,
right, that's what I had in my mind. And Ruth, for you, as we close up, you say you have 7 international goals. What are your plans for the upcoming tournaments?
Well, my plans for the upcoming tournaments is I plan to score more goals.
How
trying
many?
to add on a hat-trick. 3 goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
From all competitions, all games, no matter what?
From all games.
Okay.
And putting in all the hard work to be successful towards that. And everyone out there who supports me, thank you very much. And yes.
Well, thank you very much both for coming through. Ruth, thank you very much. Good luck with your plans. Thank you so much, Mr. Volley. And that will bring us to the end of the discussion this morning. We were speaking with the Women's Development Officer of the Grenada Football Association, Harry Volley, and a member of the national team, Ruth Lewis. She's also a student and player for J.W. Fletcher Catholic. That will bring us to the end of the program this morning. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember, at the top of the hour, we link up with the BBC for the 8 a.m. newscast. Those of you on Classic, keep it locked right here to 105. Those of you on GBN, stay tuned. Those of you on the YouTube channel, keep it locked, because remember, in just over an hour, we have To The Point. My name is Blossom. Keep it locked right here to 105 and channel 7, 11, and 20.